Brilliance Audio presents The Banty House by Carolyn Brown, performed by Karissa Vacker. Change is a good thing. Kate Carson wished she had the person who had first said that by the throat. She'd choke them until their face turned blue, and then slap them for being that color. She didn't like change. First, her little town had lost its post office, and then the saloon was blown away by a tornado, and the cotton mill went out of business. All that had happened in the past 50 years, and just 2 weeks ago, her hairdresser had up and dropped graveyard dead. They hadn't had a bit of forewarning, and now the Carson sisters had to drive almost 3 miles to the Hondo Cotton Curl just to get their hair fixed on Thursday mornings. Used to be they only had to walk 1 block down Main Street, turn left, and their beauty shop was right there in the garage beside the second house on the right. They'd figured Estelle, their old hairdresser, would outlive them all, being as how she was only 65, and the youngest of the Carson sisters was more than a decade older than that. Next thing would be that God himself wasn't interested in sticking around Rooster, Texas either, and he'd send a tornado to wipe out the only church left in town. Kate muttered about that idea as she put on her best sweater that cool April morning and crossed the dog trot from the house to the garage to get the car backed out so they could go drive to Hondo. Lord only knew that she couldn't let Betsy or Connie drive their mama's car. Connie would get to daydreaming and drive them through a barbed wire fence. Betsy drove like a bat set loose from the bowels of hell. She wouldn't only drive them through the fence, she'd kill a cow or 2 in the process. Kate remembered the first time she had gotten behind the wheel of the turquoise 1958 Lincoln. Her mama had brought it home from the dealership down in Hondo, and she'd let each of the girls have a turn at driving it around the block. She told them that she had picked out that color because it reminded her of Easter, which was the very next Sunday. "And here we are 62 years later," Kate said as she started the engine. "Easter's this coming Sunday, and this old girl," she patted the steering wheel, "still runs like a jewel." She looked up toward the pale blue sky with no clouds in sight. "You done good, Mama, when you bought this car." Betsy came out of the big 2-story house first and crawled into the back seat. "I hate seat belts, and I still say that having the damn things installed has ruined the value of Mama's car." "We didn't have much choice after the 3rd time the cops pulled you over for speeding, and we had no seatbelts, so we doubled the fine," Betsy replied. Connie opened the passenger door and slid into the wide bench seat next to Kate. "Cops are everywhere these days. Don't know why they can't stay on the highways where they belong and leave the farm roads alone. Next thing you know, they'll be camping out at the edge of Rooster." "I doubt that." Kate put the car in gear and made a right-hand turn onto Main Street. "We're pretty much all that's left of Rooster, and they know we've got seat belts now. Besides, no one needs to be scared because you don't drive anymore, Connie." "I would if you hadn't let my license expire," Connie fumed. "Don't fuss at me. You can always get it back if you take the test," Kate reminded her for the 100th time. "If this damn seatbelt wasn't holding me down, I'd reach over this seat and slap you silly," Connie told her. Kate turned on the radio and found the classic country music station they all liked. Every time Connie said something else, she jacked up the volume a little more. Pretty soon they were all wiggling their shoulders to Johnny Cash's deep voice singing Folsom Prison Blues. By the time Patsy Cline had finished walking after midnight, Kate had parked the car in front of the new hairdresser they'd chosen. Of course, it had taken 2 hours of discussion before they'd decided to give her a try. Connie had had to get out her gemstones and toss them around the table, and Betsy had had to call the woman and talk to her for 30 minutes. It was a wonder that Lucy hadn't hung up the phone when Betsy asked her age, weight, and marital status.